So thank you, Professor Sunil Dutt, for a nice introduction of mine, and also Madam Amandip Kaur for a good presentation about the institute. But I would like to just update. In last 5 years, we have 967 SAI publications. So almost all my faculty members nearly giving 200 SAI publication every year. So that's a marvelous activities which the faculty members are doing. And also over the last 5 years, we have earned around 17 crores rupees as our IRG. That shows also the type of involvement of our faculty members in various consultancy and the research activities. And that is the way Network Chandigarh has many feathers to their cap. But it has really getting day by day enhanced by the contribution of the faculty members in very serious way. Also, if you see in the recent time, like we could realize that there is requirement of educational products which is low cost, and also it should support the requirement of many students and teachers, including the organizations. In that process, we became academic consultant to some companies. One of the company has recently launched ULEC Meets. ULEC is a company, and they have similar like Google Meet. They have created a platform called ULEC Meet. And if you take ULEC Campus, that ULEC Campus has the Google Classroom as well as like Google Meet and Google Classroom together you can operate. So that's the type of option they are having. They have already launched in Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and they are now looking forward to many other places. Like he was talking to me that he will be launching in Maldives, and it is almost all 1/3 of the price of the Zoom they are giving it. So that's the way. We are not confined to only teaching learning. We are also giving the academic advice to those companies which are coming forward, and we are also creating academic products which will be useful in the teaching learning process, because 53 years of experience of this institute is now getting utilized to give right kind of path to those company people who are looking forward to academic supports. Now, when I go to my normal this presentation activities, it is a very basic presentations. Many of you are aware of this thing, but it is just a refreshing you that the present scenario of education is not confined to any institute. It is not confined to any classroom. It has gone to society. It has spread to the society, and so therefore, the students should be allowed for a social approach of learning. Also, the teachers should facilitate that social approach of learning. That's the basic objective, because today's teaching learning is not that judging a student that how much he has learned about your particular subject. It is beyond that. It is when we talk beyond that means what else? It is his cognitive testing. It is his emotional testing. It is his knowledge testing. It is his analytic testings. It is his acceptance testing. Many parameters are coming into picture. So unless we satisfied all these conditions, then this is not going to be really accepted by the student community. Because if you see in the recent time, the air here is just aggressively entering into our teaching learning process, the augmented reality and virtual reality. And I always tell to my faculty members, look, another 5 years time, you'll have holographics approach. When you are going for this holographics approach, that seamless integration to the participants, seamless integration with the students. You can your holographic images will be interacting with students in remote centers. So that's the type of the fascinations which is going to come, and it is like a Star Trek story, but it appears to be today like that. But definitely, it is going to be a different type of activities in another 5 years time. You'll see that people have started testing on that, and I'm quite confident. In fact, way back in 2013, I had gone through an article like this, how the students' emotion or the attachment to the particular topics of a subject can be tested. And it was IEEE Spectrum's news. And today, those things are coming, because if you see the cognitive analysis, that cognitive analysis is that way is really now getting very strongly integrated to our education systems, and AI, machine learning, data analytics, all this industry 4.0 tools are really driving us crazy towards the educational systems. So if we look into industrial concept of education is also another industry for us. And all these industry 4.0 tools are going to be utilized, and you'll see the different type of freedom of learning or thinking you'll be facilitating for the students. That is exactly is matching with what our visionary leader this country once got, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. He could visualize this long back. That is why he gave this statement that's freedom to think, freedom to imagine, and both can be facilitated by the teachers because it is going to happen through your support. And that is exactly what we are now thinking, and we are thinking how the social digital pedagogy, because obviously the learning is digital now. All of you will agree with me. But again, you must agree to me that this learning is not confined to your classroom, especially the pandemic situation. COVID-19 has created problem for us, all sort of problem. But one thing it has solved for us, that the people who were having doubts about online education, the people who were doubt about the digital way of learning, they have started accepting it. The people who were sitting on the bench, they have started utilizing it. So that is exactly what is a positive thing out of this lockdown period. And that's the way we see that the future education will be blending of contact, open, virtual, immersive, digital learning. Contact, already this system is that you come to me and sit in a class. And open education system, IGNOU was operating in many such universities were operating. Virtual, already we are in that. Immersive, once AR, VR, holographics, all these activities or tools are extensively used, then the immersive learning will be more interesting. It will be like the Wallace in the Wonderworld type of Disney type of stories will be created, and people will start learning. Sometimes I say I wish our students get an attraction to the teaching learning the way they used to get attracted toward the PUBG type game. The PUBG type of game, it can be, that is the way if we can create our teaching learning environment, then there will be a lot of different type of learnings by the students, and the immersive learning will take a different type of quantum jump. And with this mind, I would like to remind you that this is all not new thing is happening. We have a very long history, way back to the 15th, 5 and 6 BCs. If you see, our Takhyasala universities used to have higher education. They used to admit people who are 16 or more year. The teacher had the full autonomy. The degree used to be given to the students only when the teachers get satisfied. The examination process was there, but ultimate degree is by the teachers. And it was a fully interdisciplinary education system. You name anything, military, fine arts, economics, out there. So what today NEP 2020, our National Education Policy 2020 is talking about, was used to be a practice in this country. And the best example of experiential learning was there. And when I go to Nalanda type of situations, I get surprised that today which institute is having a 9-storied library. That is the, and 90 lakhs manuscripts they used to house in this type of library. And 10,000 student, 3,000 teachers. Teacher-student ratio is 1:3. That is one of the best personalized learning. So today what we talk about experiential learning or personalized learning, these were all existing in this country. The country was practicing this thing, and already the country was having a reputation for that. But unfortunately, with time, we lost the track. But again, we are trying to retrieve this track, and the NEP 2020 has really given a lot of facilities, openness to us. So maybe the faculty members like you will take forward this vision, which once the country was practicing. So if I look at the highlights of the National Education Policy, they talk about multidisciplinary education, they talk about the autonomy of the faculty and institute, they talk about the strong revamping of the curriculum, pedagogy, assessment, and they talk about quality distance learning, academic bank of credit, like recognizing the prior learning and creating an academic bank of credit. Way back in 2005, our director in NITR Chandigarh, Professor Bajpai, used to talk about passbook of credits. He was in fact planning that let's our short-term course be accumulated as some credit after assessment, and once they accumulate a credit, you can give them a degree. So this academic bank of credit, 15 years back in this institute, our people used to think. multidisciplinary education, multi-entry, multi-exit. It was the document which this institute prepared long back, 20-25 years back. This multi-entry, multi-exit education is existing in a place like Arunachal Pradesh, where there is an institute of Government of India called NERIST is practicing that. So therefore, there is lot of things happening, and internalization is coming into picture. So internalization is through a quality digital learning is possible. Therefore, this particular course, the blended learning approach needs to be thought in a different way. It should be a blending of your approach in such a way that the learning becomes immersive, learning becomes personalized, learning becomes experiential, and live labs are permitted. You should not ask your students to get confined to your four-wall laboratories, where you take some experiments from them, which is too basic, may not be used in industry, but with this background, they may work in the industry. That is a different thing. But if a person is getting a chance to work in any industrial lab and startup lab, please permit and allow that as a live lab for the students to be counted against its laboratory practices. So therefore, there has to be openness in our thought process. Our minds are to be now broadened in such a way that the students learning from various sources should be judged, integrated, and a credit should be given to students for that efforts. So that's the way when I look at this country, nearly 11,000 engineering institutes. Nearly, if you see only in technical education system, 33 lakhs type of students they are entering. Total faculty is around 5.6 lakhs. So that way, if strength-wise, if I go, this country has no less strength than anybody. It is a huge strength rather. But when we look into our utilization of this strength, somewhere I see that we have just lost the track. Because if you see, only 19% of 11,000 institute is having a platinum linkage with the industry. What do you mean by platinum linkage? The institute who gets 30% and above marks, they are called platinum linkage. That means out of 11 lakhs institute, we have only 19% institute who are having more than 30 marks. This is really the very weak side of our strength, where we are completely away, completely detached from the industrial requirement, industrial link. So it is a very weak link which we have established. 40% on gold and silver. So if you see total, if I take gold and silver and our platinum, then only 59% of the institute are following, and for gold and silver is 10% and above marks. So 10 to 30, if you go that, you fall under silver and 10. Basically, pass mark bhi nahi mil raha, and we are something like that. So, and 47% is people are only employable. That is the Skill India reports which is talking about. So this is a worrying factor, and this is a concern. And we as individual, as teacher, it is not the country's worries, it is also our worry, because when we are party to this teaching learning process and our students are not really coming out to that level, then where do we stand? Then I was going through certain reports and I wanted to analyze where we lack, because when I was in US and we were working, always the Indian undergraduate education was given a lot of importance in developed countries. Then when I was analyzing, my guess came true, and I found that majority of our Indian students who are running out of this country, they are for the higher education. So basically the PG, PhD programs needs to be strengthened. Somewhere our approach to those PG and PhD programs are to be different, and that's the way that we can keep these people inside our country. So Brendan can be stopped, cash flow can be stopped. So if we at all thinking in this direction, then there has to be a different type of thought process for PG and PhD. Undergraduate is going through that situation. So a lot of this facilitation is happening from the ministry side, and that's the way now things are going to happen. So I personally feel that COVID-19 has pushed us to a full-fledged virtual world, where we visualize as an institute having 53 years plus experience, that contact upon virtual immersive all will come together. You cannot say that contact will throw, you cannot say that only I'll run in open, you cannot say that I'll be only simply virtual. It is going to be a blending, then only the people acceptance will be there. And gradually, if the technology, the way it is coming up, you'll see that with the introduction of 5G, subsequently 6G, and the type of metadata transmissions, and the way the educational tools and the immersive tools like AR, VR, holographic, all those things are coming into picture, you'll see that there will be seamless transmission of data, seamless information sharing. So maybe the type of immersive digital learning will take a different type of platform. Maybe that is another 5-10 years time. You'll see those type of facilities are coming to you. So, but we must not delay in our preparations. We must start adopting this approach of blending, so that once the new tools are available, we can quickly switch over to the new tools without losing any time. So ubiquitous learning was long back talk, which is happening today. If you see the ubiquitous learning, it was not a new term. The ubiquitous computing, ubiquitous learning, this was talked long back, where the environment will be like one space, unique surroundings, settings, situations, all those things are happening. You people are experiencing that. So therefore those, and also industry point of view, if you see, the industry wants holistic development of your students. They cannot be just confined to only one type of thinking. They have to have integration of cognitive flexibility, social responsibility, ethics, values should be attached with them. So multitasking approach is there. Luckily, when the industry is demanding this type of activities from the students, there are various activities possible through us, and the key driving factor today's are basically augmented reality, virtual simulation, Internet of Things, autonomous systems, and basically the cyber physical integration is very well established now. So once you have a good cyber physical interface, so the seamless data transmission is feasible, and therefore the blending of the education, teaching, learning, what Professor Sunil Dutt is going to talk all these 5 days, seems to be a feasible aspect, and we must start accepting this. But here the survey says that we have all these figures in front of us, but the real fact is that the quality of faculty needs to be enhanced. When we talk about the quality of faculty, overall it is seen, it is not only the knowledge, it is not only the knowing the digital tool, it is not only knowing the industrial requirement, how this faculty have integrated themselves to holistically address the issues. That is the things which is now is challenged. So only 79.7 faculties, almost all 80% of the faculty, they lack these holistic qualities. Then curriculum, yes, our mindset is that if I know a subject, teaching a subject for 5-10 years, I should not leave that subject. That is something is really wrong. Unless we have a very openness to ourselves that if my subject is not acceptable at this moment in the industry or society, I must have a big heart to ask the people, look, I drop this subject. I'm ready to take new subject, new challenges, so our students will be benefited. So somewhere, since our senior faculty, they just don't believe in this type of concept. That's the way when the board of studies takes place or any academic council meeting takes place, we always fogged up with all this old curriculum of, that's the reason why this Deloitte report says that our curriculum is 60%, 64% is outdated. Obviously, once your faculty of quality faculty and curriculums are challenged, your global perspective will be affected, and that is what exactly this figure is showing. And obviously, the day by day, without giving any inputs, if the fees are increased, the students will not be really accepting this. Therefore, in this type of challenge scenario, my thought process, being in the education system for long, I realized that silo business will not work. You have to come out of your silo mentality to become a social alliances is required. Therefore, we in our institute we follow 3 mantras: partnering, networking, and empowering. So when I say partnering builds strength, because if you have a house where 4 pillars you have, because of your money you have put, but one friend is telling, I'll spend another 4 pillars cost, let's go for a double storage. So that is the strength is increased. So partnering increases strength. Networking creates wealth. I have 2 equipments, you have 5 equipments. If we network, our students have 7 equipments. So that's the way the networking creates wealth. And empowerment is the mantra of success. You have to make this faculty members empowered and accountable, so that your directions, your vision, your participative vision can play a role. That is what actually all these good institutes are now following. They are making everybody feel that I am important. That once your organizations makes a situations in such a way that everybody feels that I am important, that means you have empowered everybody, and that they will drive. And that is what is the approach which we are looking forward to. Experiential university, subscription university, sharing university. This is a concept which is coming. So basically, if you see this subscription university, today you can subscribe to Coursera, you can subscribe to Socio platform, get your credit and accumulate that, get a degree. So that is the way ultimately this NEP 2020 is also speaking in that way, that you can get this credit from this university, this credit from this university. So accumulate this credit and as per your needs, subscribe to that university and get it. So similarly, this sharing type of university, that like exchange program, that is also is happening, but it is in a bigger way. It is so socialization is already there, and the ecosystem is really helping today. If you see over the years, the global communication infrastructure has improved tremendously. The global communication infrastructure is so good. It is now day by day it is increasing. Excuse me, actually. Professor Sanjay, मैं एक क्लास में हूँ. Can I call you back? हाँ, take it. Okay. Then engineering design tools and simulations tools are also day by day is really facilitating our activities. Especially in NITAP Chandigarh, we are very serious of using the IoT tools and the AR/VR tools. In fact, we have created a separate lab now, AR/VR. We have hired a company. We are now partner with them. So very shortly, they will be putting their expert peoples in our lab. And that is the way industry supported AR/VR lab we are creating. This AR/VR is for educational pedagogy only. This is for teaching engineering subject, difficult subject in an immersive way. And that is the approach this institute has now taken up in recent time. If you see all these things, digital fusion, disruptive technology has led to a lot of this new outcomes, and in fact education is not away from this. Then this education 4.0 and beyond, if you see, it is a empty container pedagogy. Here actually you have to throw all the things whatever is stock with you and rethink again. If there is a requirement of reverse engineering, there is no doubt you can go for that. If there is a requirement of refurbishing, that is also no doubt you can go for that. If there is a requirement of reinventing, there is no doubt you have to go for that. That's the way we have to go for this thing. And that's the way you cannot really bind people with time or age. If a small kid is capable of climbing the tree, you cannot stop that small kid at this stage. You must allow this small kid to climb that tree. You cannot say that you become teenager and then only you climb the tree. It is not. It was a 19th century Hammondian model of education, which cannot be followed in this present time. So that's the way we must think. So again, how do we really proceed? So as educational leaders, as HOD, as senior professor, as senior faculty, you have to forecast. You have to forecast and foster the forecast after a if and analysis. What and if analysis is very important. So you have to forecast the changes, you have to forecast the challenges, you have to work on what if analysis, and you have to foster that. Then only these challenges which are ahead of us, we can really think how we can handle. In fact, we have a wonderful media engineering department, Madam Amandeep Kaur showed you. We do a lot of these digital activities here, and these studios are also facilitating the outside people who are capable, having a global talent to be projected in a global scenario. We can also help you in this respect. That's the reason why I kept this. NCTL is a new concept where, look, everything is not to be created. There are many infrastructure which are available. You must know how to use that. When we created NCTL well back in 2013-14, that time I was not their director. I was basically heading this team. I was HOD of the department called Educational Television Center, but now it is called Media Engineering. Then what we planned, that when it came to my mind, there is a YouTube channel. Why can't we just use this YouTube, create a YouTube channel and dump our customized video in that? Today, what Amandip ji showed you is our world record. If you see, we have 15.5 million viewers. It is day by day it is increasing. In this 6-year time, less than 6-year time, we have captured the world with our qualities instructional materials, which are uploaded in a channel for which we are not paying anything, not investing anything, just a connections through our local server to the YouTube channel, and 15.5 million viewers, 1,33,000 subscribers, and you name any country, they are listed as our users. If you see here, India, United States, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Philippines, United Arab Emirates, Nepal, Malaysia, Ethiopia, United Kingdom, Indonesia, any country, developing, developed, all underdeveloped, all are associated with that. That's the way that this is not inventing a new things, but innovatively using a already existing thing. And that is exactly what we have shown, that everything need not to be invented. You must know how to innovatively use the available things. But in this country, we are passing through a definitely a rough patch. Every country they pass through a rough patch. There is no doubt. Every country they have passed through that. Today they are developed. We are also passing through the rough patch. Many places you'll find that the bandwidth is not good. And since digital learning in a remote locations requires bring your own device, wired is not affordable by everybody. A rickshaw puller cannot give a mobile phone to each and every kids of his. So that's the way we people should think about how to refurbish these equipments which are available in various places, and start donating to these masses, so that everybody will have a wired type of situation for this thing. Then when you are looking into the masses, how to go for individual attention, which is in classroom teaching is possible. So this is a very big challenge, individual attention, when your group learning is taking place. Then ethics, values, dishonesty, countering those type of unethical approach, dishonesty approach is a challenge. So as a teacher, really, how can we really counter this? People, they switch on their mobile, they switch on their laptop, but they are not in the periphery. They just fool the teacher that I am connected, but they are not. So how to really make these things happening, so that the students, they realize that this is my sincerity, that I should not fool a person who is believing on me. So similarly, the challenge is how to go for a hard experiment when you are in remote regions. Your laboratories are established, mechanical, civil, electrical lab, or these hard labs are established. How the students can really access to this hard lab even if they are in the remote location. Then when the student is in front of you, it is not only subject dealing, it is your personal care, it is your emotional attachment. So that personal touch is how to really bring that personal touch in a digital scenario. This is also another area where, and developing sharing, caring, teaming type of characteristics. When they are in the campus, they create a team, they share each information by, they share many things among themselves, they care for each other. So how that quality of students can be developed when they are staying digitally away from us, remotely away from us. So the transfer from E to C person is a requirement. Papa ji, good morning. मैं तो घर में पहुंच के अभी सुनिंदर जी का क्लास ले रहा हूँ, बात करूँ थोड़ा पीछे आपसे. हाँ 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 हाँ. हमारा टीम रिफ्यूज किया है कि नहीं करेगा बोले. 5 दिन थोड़ा होल्ड कीजिए, फिर मैं जाने के बाद एक मीटिंग करेंगे. नहीं तो आप तीनों को बुला के एक बार मीटिंग कर लीजिए ना. अच्छा, पंजाब कोऑपरेटिव. तो ये हमारा सुनील दत्त, राकेश वाट्स जी नहीं ले पाएंगे क्या? एक बार चेक कर लो, देखो एक बार मीटिंग कर लीजिए. अगर नहीं होता तो मैं आने के बाद ही मना करूंगा. ओके, थैंक यू. Sorry, actually there was a call from the manager there. So now transferring a E person to C person is a challenging thing for us. What do you mean by E person? Actually, the person who is learning remotely from you through a digital pedagogy, he should have all the characteristics of a contact mode person, the student who comes to you in a classroom, sit with you, share all the activities, care for each other, create teams, and also have a lot of respect, emotional attachment with the faculty members. How do that contact person, C person or the C students can be replicated in a E students? So that's a big difficult proposition which we are. Another situation which right in front of the students are, they get many possibilities and they are confused. So as we, that if in a tree everything is available, which one is the best and how to get that best one is a challenging. So we as a teacher needs to really curate the best thing. That many things are available right in front of you, but what is that best curated thing that can be given to the students is an important thing for us. And that is what exactly is a role of teacher in today's scenario, that many possibilities out of this, which is the best possibilities needs to be addressed. Then the social digital pedagogies must focus at making the students' teaching learning environment exciting, engaging, enforcing, enabling, encouraging, enhancing, embracing, empowering, earning, and enduring. If you see, all this is whatever from the dictionary is possible. I personally feel that social digital pedagogy can really focus on this. Unless you create excitement, you create an enforcing ability, unless you create encouragement, unless you allow the student to be empowered, engaged, all these things will be a failure. So that is what is the research required by a teacher, not only on the subject, but how these subjects can be tuned in such a way that the students gets the maximum from the teachers. So this is really a challenge for a teacher. I am also a teacher. I am after all a faculty. So even if I am sitting in the chair of director or serve as a vice chancellor, but after all I am a faculty member. So by talking this type of things is very easy. Like you come with a PowerPoint presentation and talk like this, what I am doing today. But really implementing this thing is a challenging job. Therefore, each individual teachers, they have their own method of research to enable themselves to really go for this thing. If you ask me today, I used to teach subject like antenna, microwave, and electromagnetic theory, which is more mathematical in nature. After that, neural network, digital signal processing. So always I used to develop a different type of method how to engage my students, how to encourage my student. Because if you ask any electronic student electromagnetic theory, he'll be half-heartedly say yes, because his encouragement is over when he hears a subject like that. But how to really drive the students and its encouraging level is to be very high so that he can accept this subject. These are all challenging things, and we have done that in past. So this is exactly what is now required, and that is today, at least in our time when we were young teacher, it was very challenging. But today, because of the cooperative, collaborative, connecting, contributing approach, this is more customer oriented and cost effective. Earlier it was not there. But today, the collaboration and cooperation and connections and contributions are easily possible. So therefore, the society connection is more easier today, which was not earlier possible. I can, if I am having a problem in the subjects, I can bring a very top class professor from any of the collaborative institute, and he can address the issues. So the connection is possible. So that is exactly what is social digital pedagogy is talking. Academic bank of credits will be very well taken care by the social learning, because a student who is in let's say working in a startup will earn some credit from that live experiments. You will put it in his bank credit. When he comes to your institute for taking some theoretical classes, add that, give him a degree. Multi-entry, multi-exit is a requirement of the social digital pedagogy. Multidisciplinary subject is possible. Let's say mechanical engineer at the third year, after reaching third year, decides that she wants to be a MBA students, and when she searches for her subjects of MBA, hardly she says sees any subject. Maybe a industrial management, only one subject is available for her. So in that situation, the student should have a multidisciplinary subject choice, because after reading so much of mechanical engineering, if she wants to move towards a law graduates or a management graduate, then those type of subjects disciplinary subjects should be opened up for them. So these are possible because you cannot start a law degree in your place. You cannot start a pharmacy degree in your place. Limitations are there. But you can very well connect yourself to a law university or a pharmaceutical colleges, so that subject can be offered to the student, and it is happening. We are in fact once we get to our deemed to be university status, we'll be opening up this thing very strongly because we are very clear about this implementation process. So ultimately, technology should address the societal and industrial needs. Unless the technology address it, our education system, that the employability issues always will be raised. And this, as a teacher, as a faculty, we must address that how technology will be best suited for this. So therefore, there has to be 4 aspects. The aspect is that what is that process which you are following, and to go for this process, what are the tools available with you? Are you really assessing this process? Are you really assessing the tools? What are the remedial actions you are taking on this for its improvement? Are you going for an intermediate improvement of this one? All those things are a chain. So this chain of social digital learning is now encompassing many things. It is not only your inputs, but the process which you are following to make this process successful, what tools you are using, whether these tools are judged properly or not, whether this process are judged properly or not. That's the way we. I'm happy that Amandeep will be taking care of the rubrics requirement. I personally feel rubric is any assessment, let me tell you. Anything what we are doing is passing through a systematic assessment and evaluations. So to do so, the rubrics are basically the micro detailed steps to be followed for a successful implementation, evaluation, and assessment. So therefore, the designing of the rubrics is like designing the tools for your evaluations and assessment. So I just picked up a very rough one, even though pedagogy is not my area, but as a teacher who used to guide thesis and for MTech and PhD, I thought let me just pick up a very realistic way, a project work, and how do we create the rubrics for them. When we go for the project works, what do we see? How we see a problem of a project work? We see how good is the problem definition. If the student has really done a good research for defining this problem, and how this problem is getting connected to the social, industrial, or organizational needs. So based on this, we judge its problem definition. Then when we go to the problem definition, we look forward to his solution. He has defined a very good problem, but how much solution he has achieved? What is to what extent he has really accomplished the definitions? So in this process, when we reach to the solution, we see its methodology, we see the tools used by him, how the tools have been used by the tool. All those things, the process flow is seen in that. But broad classification, if I see, when a student's projects, we see its problem definition, then we gives importance to solutions in between. Obviously, when we reach to the solution, we go all through the process flow. Then how is presenting? Is he communicating well? Is he really presenting his works in a very impressive way? So presentation is also given some importance. And finally, documentation. How good is documented his all these concepts and the findings? So if you see any project evaluations, they pass through this. If I put another point between problem definition solution is methodology. So that's the way it will complete your requirements of project evaluation. So now each will go through the rubrics of analysis, because problem definitions, if you want evaluation or assessment to be uniform, then the problem definition must have some rubrics. So this may not, what I have written may not be matching with your full requirement. Just I gave you hints, because as already I told you, I'm not a man from education department who can create a right kind of very lucrative rubrics. But as a faculty, over my years of experience, I thought, let me just project certain realistic thing in front of you. When you talk about the project definitions, I just told you relevance. So when we talk about the problem definition, how it is relevant, then if you see, when we talk strongly addressed, partially addressed, poorly addressed, and the team individual overall contributions, these things, when we are just assessment is going this way, Strongly assert the teamwork is good and each member contributed by sharing data. The mutual discussions are extensive and the team coverage well to the objective without any differences. So the relevance of this problem definition has been judged by the team in this way. Then coming to the next point, the problem mapping. Various case studies, because it is not that already a old thing is existing and you are doing that. So they have done various considerable case studies in an extensive manner. Repeatability is avoided, gaps are well defined, market demands are also explored. So that is what is the problem mapping. Then the resource evaluation. We may take that I'll create a project to go to Mars, but there is no infrastructure available with me or resource available with me. That is also a wrong thing. So this resource evaluation is also a very interesting thing. So that's the way you say which are the points to be considered for strong, which are for partial, which are poor, and what is the team contribution. If you see the team versus individual, because when you are going for the project evaluations, it is a team, 3 to 4 students have done that, but in that you'll be giving individual a mark. So how the individual will be rated with that? So generally we missed that. So in rubrics, this is what I put, that team versus individual overall contribution. If you see the last column, this is to have a situation that while evaluating the team also you can evaluate your individuals. That's the way it is going on here. So the rubrics is in that directions. Then next point was solutions. The solution, when we are addressing the solution, is it creativity, methodology, result obtained? That is the way. I'll not go in detail. These are all PowerPoints available to you. You can see. When it comes to the presentations, again, content and flow of content. Is it informative? It is supported with relevant materials. Whether it is continuous, well linked, that is strongly addressed. In that, individually, when you are judging that particular individual person with your cross question, he will be in a position to tell content knowledge, depth of linked materials. How much actually he is having, because you have put content and flow of content. There you are connecting to him, his contribution to content knowledge and depth of the linked material, because the content flow is going with the different type of materials. That's the way we have, I have created a links for that. So you can have a look to this. And that's the way the strongly address, partially address, all these concepts are coming. So in documentation, intentionally I put some blank for you to have a practice for this. But if you see in the documentation, content and flow of content, informative supported with relevant material, continuous flow. This presentation component I have content put there. This may not be correct. So the documentation approach, you can really think how you can change it. Documentation required differently. So now for this, like already I have told you, we are landing in a situation where a contact mode of students will be converted. The contact mode of student is no more there. He is now electronics mode of student. So therefore, he should have a characteristics, all feature of a contact mode of student. To do so, we need to have transformation. What is this transformation? The transformation, first transformation is required in curriculum. Then the transformation required in content, because whatever you are teaching in your physical class cannot be straightway delivered to the students in a remote locations. This is exactly today the students are really passing through a tough time. These teachers are coming, they are teaching for 50 minutes. Then once they go, the another person comes, he teaches for 50 minutes. So as if it is a physical class from 9 to 10, 5 we are going through, the students is really passing through a terrible stage, because as you know, the concentration as per video research, the concentration confined to a video loop is only for 10 minutes. And you are forcing a students to be there in front of the laptop, in front of its mobile phone, in front of the remote display for almost all 6 hours a day. So 10 minutes break, that's the way when you watch TV, you see, even if in a serial, even a very interesting serial where you are engrossed, sometimes from the business point of view, sometimes for breaking the monotony, the advertisements are flowing. So it is with a proper research of the media group. So therefore, if you see, all these transformations are required, and that is what I have somewhere noted this thing, how to go for it. My presentation is not only talking what is required. what can be done. In fact, when I pointed out here, if you see here, 50% curriculum to be work-based, I mentioned, that time AICT meeting was not there. Now AICT says we can have almost all 40 to 50% as soft lab. So when you are allowing 50 to 60% soft lab, 50% this hard lab can be a different type of approach. Work-based learning should be encouraged. It is not only project-based now. The next generation learning is work-based learning. So once they are in the live lab, that should be considered. Similarly, when it is content, content is to be more intuitive, matter, critical. It should address the critical thinking and interaction type of approach. Means gives a lot of this challenging tasks to them. This challenging the students is more important. Give something like in game. This they go through a initial demo type of things, then a task, and they get excited to do that game. So that's the way. If you can create some content which is challenging the students will go on answering these and challenge in that process they will learn also. And support system are to be really judged properly. The LMS, CMS, now a lot of this AI support engines, LMS are coming into picture, and that should be a study itself. The student should be judged by its pre-intermediate and post-profiling approach, so that the scaling can be done. AI can really scale that. So that's the way it is happening. So one should be careful in this direction. Communications, there are a lot of communication platforms. The best suitable to you must be picked up. So, and that should be low bandwidth supported platform, because in country like ours, remote or social learning is feasible only when a system or a tools or a applications is going through a low bandwidth situation. That's the way we have to go. This is a comparative study. I'll just skip that, because we just compared one of our Monica compared this thing and gave this. E-assessment, as I told you, that still to really challenge these unethical practices, how do we go about it? Proctor exam is definitely, people are talking, it is being implemented in many scenarios. Proctor exam is not like anytime, anywhere type of situations. You have to go to a centers and this thing, and if you want to make it anytime, anywhere, then it needs a different type of setup. So therefore, I personally feel that if the proctor exam is passing through a doubtful situation, we can also have a third-party type of assessment. So like we create a nearby team and they assess the individuals. So that's the way we can take care of the assessment approach. Experiment, laboratory practice in engineering and technical education is an important aspect. You cannot really talk about engineering without going through a laboratory practices. We must look forward to the possibility of soft labs, the virtual labs. Like, as you know, IITs, especially IIT Kharagpur, they have a lot of virtual labs. So we must start using that. Government of India has spent a lot of money in developing those labs. So whatever labs are best suited, we must ask the students to go for its utilization. Then, if the soft labs are handled and we connected this virtual well, many of the things will be learned by the student, but definitely as an engineer, they have to go through a hard experiments. They have to go through a phase-wise hard experiments. And those experiments, not necessarily they should come to you. You might have developed a lab, but you define the job, the nearby institute, the nearby industry, the nearby NGOs or government body. Like say somebody from a computer science department wants to have a laboratory in Java, but if he is given a job in the government body for some e-governance, which is a Java package he is going to use. So I don't understand why you will force him to come to our lab to do this type of things. So similarly, somebody is going through a, let's say, electrical experiments, going for the generation study in the laboratory. If he's having a nearby dam and is going reading the generation study, why don't we permit that type of possibilities? So at this stage, it may be a small scale, but gradually this thing will pick up, because the industries are also opening up that gates slowly. Earlier, that was not the trend. Recently, we are marking. They are asking people to come in. They are accommodating students, especially MSME industry. They are picking up in BTech and the diploma students for their activities. That is a good sign the country is passing through. So maybe we can encash that. So that's the way the hard experiment thing can be. Then the collaborative approach, because if I have created a center of excellence spending almost 10 crores rupees, it should not be just confined to only a group of students of my institute who will be using that lab for 3 to 4 hours. After that, my 10 crores rupees or 15 crores rupees is underutilized. So a cafeteria approach should be used so that a group of students, once they use it, once they go out, another group of students, they will come in. So therefore, this center of excellence can also have a viability of existence, sustainability of existence. That's the way we must. In fact, if you see the last point here, local. In our subcomputing approach, when we go for a optimization study, what we do, we look forward to all local minima or local maxima. Then among the local minima or local maxima, we see which one's the optimum. That is, we say global. So the local to global, that is local, that is an approach to be used for the student at this stage. If the students in the remote location is staying away from you, please facilitate him to have a best supports from its nearby local situation. So basically the local maxima, you are giving him the support. Gradually, once he adjusted this local, the another nearby place local he'll be taking, which is far away from that. Then gradually it will enter into a global situations. That's the local approach is required. Then the group tasks are done. I personally see that the group tasks which we used to do as a teacher with students, that can be a peers learning will be a better approach. Senior learning will be a better approach. And I personally, I am convinced with this because I'm seeing it is happening today. So when a group task is given, the next senior should play a first-hand instructor role, and he should be assessed, he should be given credit in his own credit earning. So it will be part of his own curriculum. So that if you see any in our laboratory, what we do, we fix 10 equipment. Suppose I'm from the electronics background. So if you go to our basic electronics lab, first we say students go for the component identification, फिर वो register color code करके देखो. Gradually करते करते basic half wave rectifier, full wave rectifier, amplifier circuit में laboratory end होता है. So the basic experiment, if you see this basic experiment, why this second year student who has already completed this lab cannot be given a job? This first 3-4 experiment of component identification, this register coding, this that you do it. So in that process, what will happen? So when a young student, second year student is coming for the second year student is coming forward to the first year student to become his senior, to show his seniority. He will be preparing well. He will be coming with a lot of this seniority approach to address very seriously to this class. The student who is just 1 year junior to him or 2 year junior to him, he will not have that age gap to have a fear factor. He can ask a lot of its question which is coming to his mind. But to a teacher who is almost 10, 15 or maybe 20 years senior to him, he will be afraid to ask many questions, and he will go with that question for a long time. So therefore, I personally feel that we must create tier systems rather than one tier system. The students must come to the. I used to do that. My PhD students used to be the first hand interactor with my MTech students, and they too both they used to come to me for final solution. So that's the way we can think, and this is what I practice in my life. I'm sharing this thing. Then this socializing. When the student is in campus, they do a lot of socialization activities. They go for their institute day, cultural activities, extracurricular activities, so many things. So this is also today remotely possible. Today you might have also done your annual program. Like we did our programs where multiple students, somebody is playing instruments, somebody is singing. All this integration is possible today. So various clubs can be created. The senior will act as a first tier mentor. Then the senior teacher will be the final assessee. So the pre-assessment should be done by the the senior students, and they are based on how their team is performing. This senior student will be assessed by the faculty. So that's the way it is possible. Now, since we are entering into a lot of these digital services, you need a lot of people to attend the customer care. So hiring so many people is not feasible, but there are many such digital services which our students are capable of doing. So you can really create an environment of earn while learning. So a lot of your digital services can be well addressed by your own students. give them a small fellowship type of money, which is much economical compared to hiring a person for that service, and you can create an environment of earn while learning. So that's the accountability will be there because you are paying for that, and that's the way. One thing I must tell you: without quality, survival is not possible. Today is the era of quality only. So we must not shy away from NBA or NIRA. This ranking framework, the ranking things must be part of your life. So it is also your individual ranking. Like in our institute, we have faculty performance evaluations. They create their own quarterly reports and they submit where they want support, all those things. So we look into that. And for that, you need a very strong feedback system so that right time, right moment, right type of intervention or support system you can provide to the system. So that's quality. And obviously, once this type of things are there, so outcomes will be always there. I was telling you that 2014, I went through a intelligence, IEEE Computational Intelligence magazine, where they talk about sentiment analysis. That is, all these things are happening. After I teach a class, once I come out of the class, my student, based on these sentiment analysis tools, they will be in a position to tell out of these 50 minutes, how much time I got connected with these subjects. So these are all available now. So this Sentitool is a model and tools to detect sentiment analysis. That student is sentimentally attached with you or not, with this subject or not, all those things is analyzed, and it is 6 years back it has happened, and is going to come to your education system. So we cannot really sit and think that one day everything can be engrossed by us and we can do justice to our classroom teaching. No, this is a continuous evolution now. It is an evolving situation. And in this evolution, you cannot be away from part of this evolution. You should be in the system of evolutions. Then only you can really do justice. So there are a lot of other links. You can have a look to that. This PowerPoint will be shared by Professor Sunil Dutt with you. And to make the PowerPoint slightly more pictorial, I just picked up from here and there. Thank you so much. So hope I have given you my message. As I told you, this is a very brief presentations of the concept which is already existing with you, but I just wanted to tell you that it is time that steer yourself, tune yourself to the new evolving situation so that you can really address to the challenges and your student will be accepting well. Thank you so much. If you have some specific question, I will be happy to answer.
Thank you very much, sir, for your session. At box, there is no question from the participant side. So, on behalf of all the participants, I would thank to Dr. S. Naik, sir, Director of Government 2011 Pedagogy. We are using with high-speed computer nowadays. It is not digital.
Madam, maybe because there is a internet issue at my end, so I am unable to hear your voice correctly. If I understood correctly, there is no question at this stage. So, others are also telling there is a voice problem. So that means your end it is a problem. So you can again address.
Let me check, sir.
Yeah, now it is.
I hope I am audible to all of you now.
Now it's okay.
Audible.
Thank you very much, sir. So, sir, there is no questions from the participant side in the chat box, but on behalf of participants, I would extend a heartfelt thanks to the director of this institute, Dr. S. Naik, sir, for your session. Sir provided a whole encapsulation of this program that is on blended and flipped learning. Sir has provided us an overview that what are the different challenges when it comes to the readiness, intensity, and adoption of the digital pedagogical environment. In a digital pedagogy, in our country, it is not the same kind of teaching pedagogy that we are doing in our traditional classroom. In time to come, we need to reimagine that how it is possible for us as a faculty to consider students as a community and collaborate, not limited to our regional boundaries. We need to extend that approach to global level also. So these were thanks, Director Sir, for providing us an overview and providing us a challenge at how it's possible for us to cover the whole content in this week. So that from Nita Chandigarh, it is possible for all of us to create a benchmark that what we mean by digital pedagogy and how in our country we are able to cover all the aspects of digital pedagogy. Thank you very much, sir, for sharing the valuable information with all of us.
Thank you, madam, and thank you, Professor Dutt. In fact, all of a sudden I had to rush to my.
No problem, sir.
Up to Friday, 3 o'clock, there was a message that Gudia did not join offline.
Okay.
After that incident, after our program, when I was taking lunch, that time my driver informed me, sir, there is a mail and Gudia bolde ki jana hai. Then next day we had to come here because they don't permit more than 3 class of absence. Because in their tri-semester system, in any subject, if you are more than 3 days, 3 times absent, you are out of that subject. So then we have to rush. Now again, she has to pick up the certificate from our previous engineering college, then has to go to Javier. So that's the way. So this week I'll be away. I'm here only. Okay then. So thank you so much. God bless all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. So